Welcome back to the Witching Hour Wagon. Today we have 5 real creepy in middle of nowhere stories. So let's get right into it. Number 1. A strange sound in the woods. A few years back, the user, an archaeologist, was among a group of people doing a survey in the middle of a forest. The crew had gone home, and only the user and her boss were left to finish up some mapping, miles away from the furthest town. They made their way out further into the bush, about an hour out. As soon as they arrived, the entire area felt off. The user and her boss pushed the feeling away in favor of their work. About 15 minutes later, they hear a loud whomp sound. Both stopped, thinking the sound must have been their imagination. Then they heard it again. This time, it was so loud that they both felt pressure on their bodies and got goosebumps all over. They fled the site as quickly as possible. 10 years later, thinking about it still freaks the user out. Number 2. Stumbling onto a crime scene. Every summer, when the user went to visit their dad, the two would take trips into the mountains. On one trip, however, their experience left them incredibly uneasy. They were hiking down a steep slope when they saw an old rifle sticking from a tree. It looked like the tree had grown around the barrel many years before. They went to get a closer look and found a small cave. Inside, the two found a handful of aged personal belongings that made it seem as though the cave had once been inhabited. There were 3 cans of unopened food, a rusted cast iron pot, an old saddle and bridle set, and a wool blanket. They unrolled the blanket, and here's where things got really freaky. Inside, they found a shirt with holes and bloodstains crumpled up. The writer's father estimated the gun they found in the tree to have been from the 1870s, meaning whoever had been shot and most likely killed in those woods likely died around that same time. Number 3. A strange attack. The user went camping in the Allegheny National Forest with some friends, and one night they were sitting around the fire when someone or something started throwing rocks at their tent from somewhere in the darkness. Initially, they thought it was a group of pranksters from a neighboring camp. When they took a look around the camp, there was no sign of anyone but them. A few hours later, they heard a piercing scream. The two spent the rest of the night unsettled, but never discovered what had happened. Number 4. The ocean that left. The user and their husband were camping in the Everglades in Florida. On the first night, they had the entire island to themselves. They set up camp on the beach, and the view of the wide open Gulf of Mexico was amazing. The two settled into their tent and fell asleep to the sound of gentle waves hitting the beach. But around 2 in the morning, the user woke and heard nothing. They went out and shone their flashlight out to where the water should have been, but it wasn't there. The beach where the couple had just been fishing a few hours before extended beyond the reach of their flashlight beam. They ventured out, but still saw no ocean. They went back into the tent and remembered that right before a tsunami hits, the water recedes. Convinced there was a tsunami approaching, they were terrified. Eventually, the sound of the water returned, and the writer couldn't describe the intense relief they felt. Number 5. Skinwalker Encounters. The year was 2017. I was with a family friend who was a truck driver. We were headed to Kansas for a delivery encounter. Was at the Texas-Oklahoma line. It was about 2 in the morning. It had just got through storming. We had went under an underpass and felt something land on top of the truck. We both looked at each other and paid it no mind at first, until a dog, in a deep state of decay, looked down from the top of the cab and looked at us. About that time, my uncle slammed on his brakes, and it flew off the top of the cab of the truck, rolled off the hood in front of the truck, got ran over, and proceeded to chase us for a quarter mile until we lost it. This is one of the many encounters with the supernatural I have had, including wendigo. This is it for today's episode of the Witching Hour Wagon. Let us know in the comments below which one was your favorite. And if you liked the video, press that like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel to get more of these creepy stories. Also, if you have your own scary story, please send it to the email below. Thanks for tuning in. Be wary and take care, because something wicked is always on its way.